Picking is arguably the most frustrating guitar technique that you can try to learn to master. I've spent hours looking at hand techniques and hand positions and comparing my hands to how hands of professionals look, from Paul Gilbert to Martin Miller, Tom Quell, Joshua Metter, Frank Gambale, Greg Howe, Yngwie Malmsteen, and so many others. And the thing I've come back to is this is extremely complicated. Even Paul Gilbert himself, once in a video that he sent me, said that picking was one of the last techniques that he learned to master. So today I'm going to give you 5 things that you can do to improve your guitar technique and work day by day towards mastery. My name is Devin Bishop. I do guitar related content, covers, gear reviews, those kind of things, and I just try to have fun along the way. So let's get into it. So the first thing we want to look at is just time and daily work. So the thing that I've seen with all of these players is they just talk about the amount of time that it took for them to go from just being able to play a couple of lines and a couple of licks to being able to play those couple of lines and licks really fast. Paul Gilbert talks about it being one of the final things that he worked on and was able to master. Malmsteen talks about how he wasn't necessarily aiming for speed, but he just daily got faster. And several others seem to claim the same thing. So one of the greatest things that you can do for your picking technique is just to work on it daily. Start with it. And that's usually what I do. I just go to a string and I begin practicing the second thing that we're going to talk about, which is tremolo. So a lot of players will say that one of the things that you want to develop first in picking fast is a tremolo, and that's simply just going to one string and being able to play several notes as fast as you can. And so one thing that you can do to start this is really pause this video right now, grab your guitar, and see how fast you can pick one note. And that would be something kind of like this. As you work on your tremolo, you want to develop an evenness, and you want to develop the ability to just execute it. You want to watch the tension in your hands and how hard you're holding the pick and how much your arm is tensing up, how much you're using your elbow versus your wrist. The next thing you want to look at is hand position. One of the things you'll notice the most is most people will have something touching the guitar. Some people will touch the guitar here, they'll touch the guitar here, touch it with their pinky here. Rarely do you see people that are just able to float and still get a really good technique out. Now, as you develop this evenness, then you want to incorporate the metronome. So then when you bring in the metronome, you can practice your tremolo at different tempos and different speeds. You can then also incorporate some of the ideas I've been talking about in my previous 2 videos about doing subdivisions and doing 8th notes, 16th notes, sextuplets, triplets, and all of those things. And as you begin to master those and move up the tempo, your technique will get better. Now, when you practice, it's important to also practice with the metronome fast as well as slow. So there's been a lot of research done recently about how slowly moving up the tempo is one way to practice, but usually takes longer to develop the speed. Whereas if you start with speed, sometimes that can further benefit your playing a lot because you're practicing fast. I kind of think of it as a runner doing sprints. They don't sprint as fast as they can for very long, but they do sprint fast. Same thing with your guitar picking. You want to practice playing as fast as you can and do it with the metronome. That way you can learn to do it rhythmically. But then you also want to learn to just play slow and play evenly. So if we had a metronome that was ticking like 1, 2, 3, 4, we could play with it doing quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. We could also do 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3, and we could do triplets. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 16th notes. And then you could do sextuplets. The last tip is to learn to do some exercises starting on one string. A simple exercise that you hear a lot of people talk about is to have a 3-note per string pattern and then play that just repeatedly, especially if you're trying to do sextuplets. If you're trying to do 16th notes, do groupings of 4. Groupings of 3 would require you to do 3-note ideas. And so one chromatic idea you hear a lot of players do is just simply to play 3 frets over and over. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then after you do that, the next step would be to learn to move that up. And then move that up with the metronome and to try it fast. If if you want to do 4-note groupings or 4-note patterns, then you can do a 4-note chromatic idea, which is similar to what we did before, but now with 4 notes. So that would be like 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you'd play that over and over. Now, one of the things I see at the beginning of most people's guitar careers in the early stages is when they try this 4-fret exercise, their hands are moving all over the place and they're having to like start here and then move to get to pinky and then move back, and their like hands are moving too much. And if you notice people who are playing fast, their hands don't move at all. They're able to grab these 4 frets and keep their hand right there. And even if they were to extend it out to maybe do a 1, 3, 4, 5 kind of idea, same kind of thing. Their hand stays as still as possible and only their fingers move. And then you can move that idea up, and that would be like this. Now, these are some of the ideas that really helped my picking in the early stages. I wasn't that great of a picker starting out, and I really had a lot of trouble. And even now, I still have some trouble, but I have far less trouble since doing these techniques. And these are just some basic level techniques. Next week, we'll cover more of how to incorporate the scale into your picking. Until then, check out the other 2 videos I did on rhythms, and that can really help your rhythm and also help your ability to pick if you incorporate it into your picking hand. So thanks for checking out this video. I will see you guys in the next one, and consider subscribing, and thanks for watching.